These guys are ridiculous. These guys are ridiculous.
Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another How About Them Celtics video. Sam and I are here recording on Thursday, August 15th, and the Celtics schedule has finally dropped. We got some hints at it with the NBA Cup in the season opener and some games against the Mavs last week, and now we have the full thing. We both wrote about it. Sam wrote about it for Celtics blog, and Azai wrote about it for Hardwood Houdini. Came up with some key games, some key matchups, some key stretches, some details, all that good stuff. So we're going to go over it here with you. How you doing, Sam? I know the answer, but, well, I mean, got to keep up the illusion for the viewers. How are you?
I'm good. People are going to think I'm depressed. Like, I feel like once an episode, I, like, allude to being depressed, and then you're like, how are you doing, Sam? And I'm always like, I'm actually miserable.
If you ever see Sam super sad at the start of the video, that just know we already tried to record the video and his internet messed it up. So we had to restart the video. And so
but I am excited about the schedule. Like, this is so refreshing to actually have real content to talk about and real games that are coming up now instead of, like, talking about stupid Olympic drama that I couldn't care less about. This is fantastic.
Sorry, I missed the mute button. I had to cough. But Celtics opened up the season with a ridiculously easy schedule. So of their first 19 games, I think the stat is, I listed it here. I wrote 10 details every fan needs to know about for Hardwood Houdini. Of their first 19 games, 7 of them are against playoff opponents from last year. And in the first 19 games, Sam, they have 2 games against the Wizards, 2 games against the Hornets, 2 games against the Nets, and 2 games against the Hawks. It's pretty good.
That NBA Cup will do favors for you.
That it will.
You know what's funny is if you really think about it, teams are now getting rewarded in the, well, I mean, technically not, but in the short term for being good in the season prior. All of the teams that are in that top 3 are all but guaranteed to play against inferior opponents to start their season off.
It's true.
The way they do the cup drawings is like 1 through 3 are in one pot, 4 through 6, 7 through 10, 11 through 13, or 12, whatever it is. All the bad teams are in different pots. So you're going to be guaranteed to play against bad teams. That is a bonus to being one of the better teams. And it's very helpful to the Celtics. I'm sure you mentioned it in your writing. Porzingis being injured and probably coming back around Christmas time, having all these bad teams on your schedule early is a luxury when that's something you have to deal with.
And even past that, like, they got lucky because, yes, the Wizards and Hawks are in their group, but they also just play them another time in the first month of the season. Like, they also just play them again, so they get double that. But they do have the Knicks, they do have the Bucks, they do have the Pacers in the first few games of the season. But the rest of it is just, I don't want to say a cakewalk, but kind of a cakewalk through the first month and change of the season. Lots and lots of inferior basketball teams, at least comparatively to the Celtics. Let's compare notes, Sam. What else did you mention in your articles in terms of schedule that you got?
In my articles?
What did you peg as the toughest stretch of the season? Because I have 2.
The toughest stretch is the very, very beginning of 2025 when they go out on the road trip. They unfortunately have to play all of the top 3 teams in the West, all on the road, all in 1 week. So they play Minnesota on the 2nd, Oklahoma City on January 5th, and then on January 7th, they play Jokic and the boys. It's going to be a tough stretch. That OKC game to start off the new year has been a bitch the last couple seasons. Of course, there was the one they lost by $1 billion in OKC, and then last season they lost a tough one too. It's almost become tradition at this point to stick them in OKC to start off the calendar year. But yeah, that's going to be a tough stretch. Fortunately, Denver is the only game of all of those that is going to be a late start. The rest of them are just like a little bit later than usual, if anything.
Yep.
But yeah, probably the toughest stretch of the season.
Even having the Rockets and Kings smushed in there is not easy. Those are going to be 2 teams fighting for the play-in at the very least. I agree. I think this is the toughest stretch of the season, but I think there's only one other that rivals it, and it is, let me find where I wrote it in. February. All of February is really tough because to end January, they go Warriors, Clippers, Lakers, Mavs, Rockets, and that's fine.
A lot of time off right there.
Starting January 31st, it's Pelicans, Sixers, Cavs, Mavs, Knicks, Heat, Spurs, Sixers, Knicks. That is all teams, including the Spurs. Like the Spurs aren't great, but they're going to be a lot better, I think, this year. This is playoff team, or Pelicans just missed, but like likely playoff team in the Sixers, playoff team in the Cavs, finals rematch in the Mavs, playoff team in the Knicks, playoff team in the Heat, playoff hopeful in the Spurs, playoff team. That is like all of February until you get to the Raptors, Pistons, Cavs to end it. And again, the Cavs are a playoff team, is just going to be constantly teams fighting for the playoffs and looking to take you down. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, effectively 9 in a row against playoff teams, plus the Spurs, who again, Wemby's Wemby. I think they're going to be a lot better. So I think this is the toughest long stretch, because like that West Coast is like 4, 3, whatever, how many games, 5 games. This is like a longer against, I would say, slightly inferior opponents than that Timberwolves, Thunder, Nuggets, but this is going to be a bitch. This little stretch right here too.
That's a 9-0 stretch if I've ever seen it.
PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become a part of the PrizePicks community today. With PrizePicks, you could turn $10 into $1,000 while watching Team USA rack up the gold medals this summer. You can make a PrizePicks lineup of players across basketball, soccer, tennis, golf, and more in as little as 60 seconds. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and you're locked in. PrizePicks is available in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. Sam and I use PrizePicks all throughout the NBA playoffs as the Celtics were making their run. If you guys tuned into the pregame show, you saw it. We like Drew Holiday blocks. We always picked Jason Tatum to get a dunk. That was a lock for us. And we always picked less on the opposing stars' points. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code CLNS on PrizePicks for a deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
We can stay hoping. We can stay hoping.
If they go 9-0 in that stretch, is going to be fire.
If they go 9-0 in that stretch, it would be crazy. What else you got? What other things did you note in your little?
They play 7 straight home games the end of February through mid-March before they go away forever at the end of March.
I also had that. March is split.
So the first thing I usually look at in terms of scheduling is the West Coast trips, just because personally I take those days off of work so I can stay up and do all the show stuff and not have to get up at a reasonable hour the next day. I can just kind of relax. So, that stretch in January where they play all the teams in California and then they go back out at the end of March, it always feels like they have this stretch at the end of March where they play the rest of the West. And it's just like the Kings, the Blazers, Phoenix. Oh, they go to Texas and then they play Memphis. Like they don't in Utah, by the way, they don't have like the contending Western Conference teams, thankfully, on the super duper late games, just because those teams don't really play on the late slate of games, except for Denver.
Yeah, this March is weird. They're gonna have to basically split March in terms of home and away. With I will say, this little break in between Nets, Jazz, Blazers. Have a feeling not a lot of starters going to play in this stretch. That's what I wrote. This is going to be a prime. Let's get some rest in here, fellas. Stretch. Another one that I noted: start of December, 5 games, 7 nights, against relatively good opponents. They've got Cavs, Heat back to back on the 1st and 2nd,
Pistons
away at Cleveland, then back home on the 2nd. Then they got the Pistons in the middle, and then they got a back to back at home against the Bucks and the Grizzlies on the 6th and 7th. So this is 5 games and 7 nights against 4 playoff teams and a Pistons team that'll probably be looking to be a lot better next year too. So this is going to be a pretty tough one as well for the Celtics.
Yeah, the December 7th game may be the first time Marcus plays against the Celtics. So that's, I mean, everybody that tweeted about the schedule put that out too. That was a big highlight for me. Hopefully he gets to play this time instead of being hurt. I think you get a couple early looks at Milwaukee this year too, which is a good thing. It'll give you a little bit of a feel for what you're going to need from Porzingis when he comes back. They beat up on Milwaukee pretty well when they were playing them here. But then when they went to Milwaukee last year, they really struggled. And, being able to take care of business on short notice against competitive teams is a test in itself. Like you mentioned, 5 games, 7 nights. If you can win a good amount of them, it's going to be impressive. And, looking at it, it wouldn't be shocking if you're without some guys for the Memphis game. You're probably without some guys for the Heat game. Pistons that will get the entire squad looking at them. They'll have the entire attention of the Celtics.
We'll see.
My favorite thing about the schedule release, the Celtics media team and all NBA teams now have begun to hype up the NBA schedule release as if it's the NFL. The NFL every year has this big, huge celebration of the games being announced. And the reason why in the NFL this is important is because there's only 17 games and you don't play all the teams every year. So finding out which teams you're actually going to play and when you're going to play them is kind of a big deal. The fun thing about this is the NBA is trying to get on that track. They're trying to do the same thing. And the Celtics made a video that is themed with a boombox. In the game, the different games are different mixtapes that they put in the boombox. And when they put the tape in, it shows highlights from when the Celtics played the team last year. Now, Jack, if you were making a video about schedule releases, what would be one thing that you include?
Maybe when the games are.
When the games are. Whether we're going to watch the whole video or not is one thing. This video does not include a single date. Not a single date is included. You could have released this video 2 weeks ago and just been like, yeah, we're going to play against the Sixers and we'll play the Knicks at some point and we'll play Milwaukee. Like, there's no date in this. It's just like, hey, look at these highlights when we played against these teams.
All they had to do was like,
just put an overlay
even if it wanted to be small, just like put the date on like the little thing here, or just maybe put it on the screen when the highlights are showing. It just, I don't really know what the point
this video literally it gave you no new information.
They also just picked random teams. Like,
not really.
I get they're the rivals, but like, isn't the whole point of schedule release to say like when you're playing every team in the league, like, oh yeah, this is when we're playing this team, this is what they're playing this team. I wonder if any other team, like, give me another team, Sam. I know the Bulls have done good ones in the past. I know that's random.
The Pistons did one.
I remember the Bulls have done one. The Pistons did one, like it released already.
Yep, it was
okay. Yeah,
3.
Here's the Bulls. The Bulls. This is actually kind of sick. The Bulls did like flip art of Kobe White and other teams, or Kobe White and other players, whatever. No dates. I don't think.
Really?
I don't know.
Full schedule on Bulls.com.
Maybe it's not a Celtics thing.
The Pistons definitely put the dates.
What up, though?
All right, is this it? My dog is gonna break her claws off trying to get into my room because she's scratching the door. So you watch this and we go.
Okay.
Talk about it.
Yeah. So the Pistons did it right. No surprise. They're ready for a competitive season. They put the date of opening night against the Pacers up. Then as you go along, they actually tell you when they're going to be playing some other games. The Wizards, a game that they decided to highlight on March 13th. The Wizards. Celtics, a couple times, getting highlighted in the Pistons schedule. I still can't believe they chose to highlight the Wizards. Why is that a big deal?
That is odd.
Is it because of Kuzma?
Maybe they're rivals now.
They might be rivals, but they want to see who can lose the best.
Kuzma did trash talk.
Oh, he stepped on the Warriors thing. Did you see that?
At least they do have dates. I did see that.
Don't stop.
At least they got the dates.
Don't
I didn't even play that. Yeah. But going back to the Celtics here. What else? What else did you note? I had so every year they have like same team back-to-backs, right? Where they just play the same team twice in a row to make traveling a little bit easier.
Charlotte to end the season, not bad.
Charlotte to end the season. They have it 5 times. 4 of them are the Hornets twice, the Nets once, and the Bulls once. So all of their play the same team twice. Pretty easy. The other one is the Pacers.
Would do this
so the
with
Pacers
teams
will be
that
tough.
are furthest away.
Yes, but for the Celtics, most teams that are the furthest away, they only play once. Like they're only playing the West teams one time.
Well,
so,
like even like in the East.
Maybe, yeah, they've done it with the Heat in the past. So maybe they do that, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why they did it this way, but they're pretty easy this year.
GameTime is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the GameTime app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. I remember my dad taking me to Fenway Park as a kid, getting to watch David Ortiz and Dustin Pedroia sitting in the Green Monster and taking in all there is to love about the iconic ballpark. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, GameTime takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. Taking a look at my GameTime app right now, I see plenty of great deals to watch my favorite sports teams and my favorite tickets to Noah Khan. You guys know that's my favorite artist. I even used it while in Las Vegas for Summer League to get tickets to a women's basketball game. Some of my favorite features in the GameTime app include letting me see what the price is going to be with fees included. It makes so much easier to take a look and see what the actual price I'm going to pay is. Also, you get to see exactly where you are sitting. It's a great way to know exactly the experience you're going to get. I also love the fact that you can get great last-minute deals. Save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, or anything else. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off.
Who doesn't love the home and homes? I kind of like them. I think it makes it a little bit more fun. It's more fun when the teams are actually good and there's some kind of competitiveness there. Like they had one against Miami a couple seasons ago. And that I remember being a competitive one, especially because it ended up being the conference finals. But like, I don't really know how much of a chip on the shoulder the Hornets are going to bring to the final game, or Chicago for that matter. It's just maybe a good way for the Celtics to string some wins together at this point, which is absolutely fine with me. Get all the wins.
Yes, definitely. National TV games as well. My dogs are freaking out because they're Thunder. Hi, buddy. I'm sorry. National TV games. Celtics have the third most in the league behind the Lakers and Warriors, which I guess kind of makes sense.
Two very competitive teams.
It makes sense. It's popular. National TV games are nothing more than a popularity contest. And those two teams have LeBron and Steph Curry, who are probably the most popular players in the world. Lakers have 39, Warriors have 36, Celtics and Knicks both have 34, Mavs and Suns have 30, and those are the only teams with 30 plus. That came from Brett Siegel of Clutch Points, so I stole that.
I think the Sixers might have a little bit more.
Yeah, but it's, again, star power, and I wonder if any of their thinking was we can't be they don't want to have to reschedule stuff, and maybe they don't really trust Joel Embiid to be on the floor.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
So maybe you trust the rest of those guys to be on the floor a little bit more, even if some of them get hurt as well. Yeah. What else did you
Phoenix,
did you write down?
Known team with guys that stay healthy.
But at the very least, you'll know one of them will be on the court for Phoenix. Usually one of them is at least.
LeBron never rests.
LeBron played a lot of games last season. Like all your old memes were kind of put to bed last year. LeBron played 70 plus games. AD played 70 plus games. Suns valid, but at least one of them.
The Suns one is the one I said first. I knew that the Lakers had a healthier season last year, but since LeBron has gone to the Lakers, he has not played quite the amount of games he used to be able to play, which happens usually when you get old.
Yeah, usually. What else? What else you
got? I mean, I'm excited for November 6th when Celtics fans get their hands on Steve Kerr. He'll get booed out of the building, probably.
Yep, that's the season, or not. That's the opener against the Warriors. What I should say. I meant to say it's the first thing I wrote. First thing I wrote in my must-watch games.
I mean, opening night is just going to be a game on so many levels where it's a celebration. Which I mean, we already knew about this, so it takes some of the sweetness out of it. But knowing that you're going to get the celebration of hanging the banner and the guys getting their championship rings, and then you also get your first real test of the season, like right away, it makes it must watch. Another sneaky, intriguing date on the schedule for a very select group of people, I suppose, but Svi getting his ring on March 10th with the Jazz.
Yep. Svi getting his ring. That's a good one. I didn't think of that. I wrote about the California stretch. other thing I wrote is the Celtics just kind of make their schedule look easy because of how good they are, and the fact that they play in the Eastern Conference, right? Like the reality is the Eastern Conference is weaker than the West from top to bottom, but most significantly, the bottom of the West is good. The bottom of the East is horrendous, and that kind of makes the Celtics schedule look a little bit easier because they get the benefit of playing those teams a little bit more.
Right.
And their division is not even that amazing, right? They get the Nets, they get the Raptors in their division, so they play those teams more, and those teams are going to be bad. They get the Knicks and Sixers too, so that makes it a little harder than I guess some of the other Eastern Conference divisions. Like I'm trying to think, what's the worst division in the Eastern Conference? Is it the Southeast with the Hawks, the Wizards? Well, they still have Heat and Magic though, so that's pretty good. What's the team I'm missing? And the Hornets. That's probably the worst one.
It's tough because that's definitely the top, like the worst.
It's
because
definitely
the
the
Hornets
worst.
and the Wizards, and Atlanta's in a weird spot.
Atlanta's
But
bad.
Miami and Orlando getting better really helps that division remain
It
competitive.
does. It does. It does. What other games did I note? I think Celtics at Pacers is going to be a fun game the first time they play each other, just because I think the Pacers playing well, and I think they're going to want revenge after last year. Other things that I noted, what are the other games I mentioned? I mentioned the Knicks, I mentioned the Sixers, obviously. And then also, anytime Wemby comes to town, going to be fun now. It just, Wemby had more people watching his warm-up than anybody but Steph Curry. Like I've ever seen at TD Garden. Like there were more people there to see Wemby warm up last year than anybody I've ever seen except for Steph Curry, maybe. And it might have still been more. Like he is going to be the face of the NBA very, very soon. And it's very fun to watch him play basketball.
Yeah, he does stuff that no other player can do. The way he's able to impact decision-making of guys on the drive is the first of its kind. Probably he's blocking and closing out on shots when he's starting on the opposite side of a shooter that's in the corner. Wemby is only going to get better. I know almost every time we talk about him, you say this is the worst. Like that was the worst he's ever going to be last year. So it's going to be a time when we get to see how good he looks in February.
Mm-hmm. Going to be very fun. But that's all I got. You can find the full schedule, nba.com/Celtics/schedule. I know Hardwood Houdini is working on getting it up on their website as well. You can type it in. Go to schedule at the top of the page, and I think they're going to have one that updates with wins and losses there. That's the goal, at least for FanSided. So that'll be there. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Let us know all your thoughts in the comments. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and I'll let Sam take it out.
Thank you very much for listening and watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell. You don't want to miss any of our daily uploads. We got new stuff at 5 a.m., whether it's full pods, Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, game recaps the morning after each game, and other videos in between to keep you busy. Again, subscribe, leave a like, hit the bell. You can find us on Spotify and Apple too. All of our podcasts and game recaps are there for you. You can find us on the email, hbtcpod@gmail.com. We go through, we read all of your thoughts when you send them in to us. So if you want to be part of the pod, go ahead. Send those emails in, hbtcpod@gmail.com. The socials are at How About Them C's for Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook's the name of the pod. Streams are there. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter's at JacksFunNBA. Mine's at Sam LaFrance. And it's at Price.
Taco, come on. Taco's having some fun here.